Hey, is anybody there? Hello? Is anyone watching? Can you hear me? Hello? No, I can hear you, but you're not on Facebook Live. I'm talking to Emma. She's been at the hospital getting tested for a variety of things, so we're about to find out what's wrong with her, at least physically. All right, baby, what's up? Ah, they are. Indeed, they're very difficult times. All right, well, I got like 300 people waiting for me here on Facebook Live, so I'm going to get to that. Are you coming home? All right, I'm probably going to need your help. All right, bye. All right, everybody. Sorry for that diversion. That was Emma. She's been at the hospital for the last few hours being tested for the Wuhan, the flu, um, strep, scarlet fever. She's been on antibiotics for a while, not getting better. So, anyway, apparently she's fine. They're sending her home. But what that means is that I've got to answer these questions on my own. And so this could be fun. But fortunately, I have a good cigar and I have a good beer. So we're going to jump into it. What flags are these? Behind me, that way is the Cassman ancestral flag. There's a great, long, rich, and highly entertaining story behind that. I'll tell you that another time. It centers around a drunken Indian in a field in central Indiana. He was drunk because he was a Muncie Indian, and the feds had stolen his all of his property from him. Imagine that. The flag on the other side over here is the flag of the Order of Parental Glory. I don't brag about this, so I tell you in all humility, but I was elected the Lord Protector of the Order of Parental Glory about 3 years ago. We can go into that at another time. What I'm supposed to be doing right now, Sarah is out of the house with the kids. They're on a walk, so that's how I managed to do this. The kids have been accumulating the questions from my critics over the last week or whenever it was that we last did a Facebook Live. And they were hoping I would answer them. And so they've given me a few of these, and I will try to keep up with the questions that you're asking here. So that the first question that was submitted was, are you obeying the quarantine? Well, there is no quarantine where I am in Middle Tennessee. I live in a suburban county, and so we've gotten some sort of suggestion to stay at home. I think it is. I left today for a hardware store visit, which is about a mile away. I encountered no one else but the attendant at the hardware store, so I don't think we put anybody at risk. And but generally, we are staying at home. Since I work from home, that tends to be kind of easy to do. We homeschool, so our lives have not been disrupted much. If there is a quarantine, by the way, of course, I have a love affair with the law and justice and generally. So naturally, I will obey so long as the obedience is, properly ordered to the common good and the good of those that I'm responsible for. What am I drinking? I am drinking. Regretfully, it is not my favorite beer. which is Polliner Salvatore Doppelbock, which is difficult to come by in this part of the world. I am drinking this. Which is supposed to be the best beer in the world. It's not the best beer in the world. That would be the previously mentioned Polliner. But it goes very well with a cigar. Why am I so antagonistic? Well, my family would probably tell you that that's just the way I've always been. But I think that the question really gets to the stylistic tone that I deploy in exchanges online and about the Wuhan virus or whatever. And it's very intentional. The reason that I'm antagonistic and provocative is because that's what causes engagement. Now, I'm in the advertising business. Engagement is an important metric, right? You want people to engage with your ad. You want people to engage with your sales copy. You want people to become emotionally invested in something, because that's when they're going to make decisions. People who tell you that they're analytical and that they don't make decisions based on their emotions, they're lying to you or they're lying to themselves. We're all emotional creatures, and the vast majority of our decisions are based on emotions. Now, there may be an analytical process involved in that, but it's still emotional decisions. Now, why do I use that when I'm not in advertising, when I'm just talking about whatever I'm arguing about? And the answer to that is because it still causes engagement. So when I'm provocative and someone is offended, right, because I don't share their opinion, they're offended, they're far more likely to engage. And that engagement gets them involved and exposes them to what in my opinion, I believe is the truth. If you care about the truth, you want lots of people to hear about it, right? So by being provocative, by antagonizing, I'm poking you, and then you're going to respond. Sometimes your conscience will be pricked. Sometimes it's just all emotion, and you're going to pour rhetoric out, but you're going to get involved. That's number one. Number two, because of the nature of Facebook's algorithm, engagement causes Facebook to show that post to more people. If you have 5 people comment on your post, then they're not going to show it to the rest of your friends. If you have hundreds of people commenting and they're coming back over and over and over again, guess what? Facebook is going to decide that post is important, and they're going to show it to more of your friends. Now, I've reduced my friends here on Facebook. I used to be at 5,000. I culled the herd. We're down about 2,000. Those were the people that were generally involved anyway. But the higher percentage of those people that are involved, the more of my other friends will see it, and your friends will see it too. As you engage, your friends are going to be notified. Hey, Michael Thomas Kramer, he's interested in this thing, and his friends are going to be notified, and they're going to come check it out. And obviously, they all should, right? They need to hear what's being said here. Why are so many people emotionally manipulative these days? That's a great one. The follow-up to that is, why are so many people emotionally manipulated these days? Well, some people are just manipulative. That's part of their personality, and so they can't help themselves. Other people want to manipulate others because they want to control other people. It's deeply important to them to have control over something in their lives, and they probably have very little control over things in their lives, and that's psychologically that's very hard for them to bear, and so they can control other people. Victims are oftentimes in this category. If you've been really victimized by something, and the deeper the victimization, the worse this will be, those people will seek to reach out and control others. Then there are people who are psychologically projecting. They can't control themselves, so they're going to reach out to project that control on something else, anything else. You will see some manifestation of this in simple things. For example, people who are more likely to overreact to a situation. For example, they can't laugh at themselves, they can't take a joke, or they take themselves too seriously, and they react disproportionately. Those are people who feel out of control, and they want to control what's being said. They want to control what you're saying about them. They want to control everything because they fear not being in control. And we all like to have an element of control, but it's more important for some personalities than others. For example, my wife likes to know what's going to happen. She likes to plan. She doesn't like surprises. She wants to be in control of her situation. There's a lot of security in that. There's an element of that in all of our lives. I, on the other hand, I like surprises. I like challenges. I like pressure. I'm one of those that I perform better under pressure. If you tell me, hey, get this job done whenever, doesn't matter, whenever you get to it, do this task, that tells me that it's not important. If you say, this is extremely important, do it today, and I think to myself, there's no way I can do it today, well, then that generates in me, it could be pride, it could just be zeal to, hey, we got to get this done, right? That's very important. The follow-up question that Tony asked is, it's the interpretation that I'm providing. Why are so many people so easily emotionally manipulated today? And that's because of fear. They are living in fear right now. Fear of the unknown, fear of getting sick, fear of dying, fear of someone close to them getting sick, someone close to them dying, losing their job. They're living in a state of fear. And when you're in that state, you can be very easily manipulated. And it's very easy to paint doom and gloom scenarios. And you start to retreat back from the higher powers of the intellect and the will into more of this animalistic state of fear, and that fear is oftentimes paralyzing, and so that's how they end up in that situation. I hope you find that answer encouraging, and if not, I'm sure you'll post. Why don't you ever respond to Why don't you ever respond to the experts? To the best of my knowledge, I've responded to everyone. I try to respond to everyone on my Facebook page generally, and during the course of this crisis, I've tried to respond to any meaningful criticism of me, and even occasionally their criticism of my ideas and methodologies. I've tried to do that on my timeline and on my information blog, jeffcassman.info. Whether they were experts or not, I don't know that I've had a whole lot of experts on my timeline. A few, perhaps. I know certainly there's some of you that are experts at turning alcohol into urine, but I don't know that I've had a whole lot of experts in relevant things. So hope that answers it. I want to be corrected. So if you all have meaningful comments, if you know people who are actual experts and they're not just relating second and third hand information, or they're not just repeating something that they read on a left-leaning news site, then please send them my way. I want to hear about it. I don't normally do that, but obviously I've been talking too much. Here's a good one. What will change your mind and stop? I think they mean what will change your mind and stop you poo-pooing this tragedy? Well, I've actually answered this question. Someone asked me in a different way, what would change my mind? I think it was even a serious question. What data would change my mind? It's a very simple answer. The data that shows that this is a catastrophe of the proportions that they claim it is. I think we're at around 600 people dead. Yeah, go ahead. Peter's joined me down here I can't turn the camera away, but in my basement office, which we call the crypt, jokingly because it's dark and this is where people go to die. It's not a good joke, but in order to brighten things up, I've installed a aquaponics system in here. And so we have a whole bunch of plants and vegetables and flowers growing, and I have a tank full of fish, and we cycle the water from the fish tank through the vegetables' roots to grow things. Peter, what are we growing over there? Speak up so people can hear you.
Well, we are growing thyme.
Can you all hear him? Somebody respond so we can say. Nobody's responding. You're probably all drinking your beer now. All right, go ahead. I'll just repeat what you say because Peter's going to tell us what we're growing right now. He's a chef, as you all know, a very accomplished chef. but he's also a green thumb. All right, what do we got?
We got big tomatoes.
Tomatoes.
Sweet tomatoes. We have zucchini.
Zucchini.
Thyme.
Pumpkins.
Watermelon.
Basil.
And
Citronella.
And just now we planted the
Squash.
Carrots. Spinach and romaine.
Those we just put the seeds in. Okay. Thank you, Peter. You can go ahead and deal with that. That's fine. Okay, so what would change my mind if the data changed and it supported an alternative theory, or if someone's analysis of the data suggested that my analysis was wrong? Because, right, we could agree on the data, but we could have different interpretations of the data. And I've been an analyst for a long time in varying capacities. Believe it or not, you don't have to be a physician. You don't have to be an epidemiologist to look at data about something. It could be polling data, which I've done a lot of, millions and millions of polls I've conducted on behalf of clients over the last 25 years. It could be epidemiological data. It could be weather data. It could be anything. You don't have to be an expert in that one narrow field to evaluate the data. Now, being an expert in that one narrow field might give you perspective and context, of course. But generally speaking, that's not what we've got. So if the data changed, or if someone's analysis suggested that my interpretation was wrong, I would be interested. Now, that analysis would have to be good, right? Well supported, and not just, oh, you're a jerk, you hate old people. If this was you, you would care about it, all those kinds of things. It would have to be something substantial, okay? What is wrong with the shirt, man? This is one of my favorites. I know it's got some vertical lines, but, and I do have sandals with socks on it right now. I'm not going to show them to you. I don't know if they match or not, okay? Everybody's an expert right now. That's true. The Dunning-Kruger effect is certainly it's certainly being proven every single day. But I think this is an American problem in general. And I joke about myself all the time. Hopefully, you know what? It just occurred to me. You all don't realize that I'm joking half the time. I post jokes, and half the time it's because I look at that and I see it in myself and I laugh at it. I have so many expert Facebook certifications. That's why they took them down off of your page, because I started to look like one of those North Korean generals with all of the certifications I'd earned from Facebook, expert in this and so forth. I do have some expertise in predictive behavioral modeling and in generating insightful analysis from data. That's why I've been able to support a family of 16, because I have some insight. My clients would not pay for it if it was always wrong or if it was not insightful. That's some expertise. I'll claim it. I'm ready for you all to knock it down. I would love for somebody that's a lot smarter than me to come along, show me that I'm wrong, and then they could hire me and pay me a just wage to work for them. Hi, Jamie. Yes, I do work from home. I've got about a 30-second commute from my bedroom on the top floor down into the basement here. And when my wife is away, I smoke cigars and drink beer. Okay. Emma's on the way home. For those of you that were worried, she was at the hospital being tested. I told her that if she had the Wuhan, to not come home. Okay, next question. What am I smoking? You all are full of great questions here so far. I am smoking a Don Rafael 2004. It's a Churchill cigar. It's a great big one. And the reason I smoke this cigar is because it is the best combination of value and taste. Contrary to what many of you think, I am not independently wealthy. Well, not in the sense that I have an enormous amount of assets to draw down. I'm independently wealthy from the standpoint that the knowledge and the skills I've accumulated in my lifetime are very valuable. So I can work from wherever, in good times or bad. There's going to be an opportunity for me. And so the bottom line is I have to smoke cheap cigars if I'm going to smoke them. And this cigar cost me $2. And it's better than many $10 and $15 cigars that I have purchased. If you want details on how to get them, hit me up later. I'll tell you where I get them. And I buy the big ones to the Churchills because that way I can smoke half of it and then I can feel like I'm done, and I can throw it away, and I don't feel like I used to feel about cigars. Right? Your mom would tell you, "Hey, eat all your food because somewhere in Ethiopia there's a child hungry." Uh, if I don't want to finish the cigar, I don't want to finish the cigar, and I don't want guilt from my childhood to tell me I didn't maximize my enjoyment of it. By buying a cheap cigar, I can smoke it and say, you know what, I got my money out of it, right? Hmm. Oh, here's a good one. I don't even know if this is a joke. Will you continue to go to that, they meant to write, schismatic church and put your children at risk? I wish I knew if this person was joking, but so I posted that I went to the SSPX chapel last Sunday because it was the only mass for hundreds of miles around that was open to the faithful. Uh, some people, usually neocons, occasionally people from the Fraternity of St. Peter who've got a real axe to grind, a real grudge on their shoulder. Some of those people don't like the SSPX, so they call it schismatic. Of course, the Pope has answered that, definitively, and I accept his answer on that question. So I'm not worried about that. Will I continue to go if they continue to have masses open to the public, and if the quarantine has not made that illegal? I'll continue to go. Put my children at risk. I don't know if what they mean by this is the spiritual risk that they think exists from going to the traditional mass, or if they think that I'm putting my children at risk from exposing them to the virus. The first question I think I've already answered. I don't think there's any. Well, there's spiritual risk everywhere you go, right? As a friend of mine says, there are ditches on both sides of the road. So you could go to the churches that we call full communion churches, where there's a pedophile priest and there's a lesbian in pantsuits giving out the bread, and there's a divorced and remarried woman performing intinction off to the side, and you could be in full communion, and there'd be a spiritual risk there. Or you could go to the traditional mass, and there's a risk that you might bump into some nasty, mean rad trad, right? Or there's some risk that you'll bump into a sedevacantist, or there's somebody who believes in the flat earth theory, or there's a priest who isn't going to be St. Francis because he's doesn't yet have the stigmata. There are risks everywhere you go. So it's a question of using reason to weigh those risks according to your state in life. All right. Now, if the question was, are you putting my children at risk from the Wuhan? Well, folks, remember that children do very, very well with this Wuhan. About 48% will get it, but a very, very small number will get seriously infected, and an infinitesimally small number have to be hospitalized. So the children really aren't at risk. I'm the one at risk because my immune system is compromised, because I've been sick for a very long time, because I've had the flu effectively, because I've had a sinus infection. I'm the one at risk, not my kids. The kids are going to be fine. And you know what? Some things are more important than taking extreme steps to avoid getting sick or dying. It's a radical worldview, but that's the gospel worldview. Okay? So I hope that answers. I hope that wasn't flippant. Do I agree with the rescue bailout? My instincts are to say no, I don't agree with the rescue bailout. I think all of these Republicans, conservatives, even some libertarians have completely abandoned their principles. It's all our Messiah is the central government, and protect us, Daddy, and give us money to solve problems that money won't solve. The Democrats, they're doing their thing, right? The left is behaving exactly the way we would expect. And I know some of you are going to be very upset about that. The only thing that I would kind of modify my statement is the people who have broken our economy, they should probably fix it. And to a great extent, that is the government, right? Because the government response has been completely disproportionate. if what they were doing was the right thing, they did it too late. And I don't think it was the right thing, but either way, they were wrong. And uh, the number of lives that will be lost from the panic and the depression will far exceed the Wuhan death count. The number of lives lost from suicides, which are predictable, right? So when we make a decision, we need to think about what are the unintended consequences that will happen from these decisions. Suicides, child abuse is way up. Suicide numbers that I'm hearing from professionals are up around 40%. Child abuse numbers are up dramatically. I don't remember the numbers. Some of you have seen that data also. I know you'll post it here. Severe child abuse, because people have just lost everything. They've lost their business. They've lost their jobs. Maybe they're sick. Maybe they're worried about being sick. They're stuck at home with their wife and their children. Their wife probably doesn't respect them. The children may not love them. And so they just start beating on people. And those are all predictable things. People that have good intentions, they want to forget that there needs to be more to a decision to make it moral than just having a good intention. Was it Chrysostom who said the path to hell is paved with good intentions? Somebody's going to write in and say I'm a liar because he didn't say that. It was somebody else. What is the quarantine status in your state? I think I already answered this. We don't really have a quarantine right now. It's just a suggestion to stay at home. Oh, here's a good question. Thank you for this serious question. This person wrote this in apparently before, and I didn't see it live. This person says, I'm very anxious and nervous. I feel obsessive. I can't stop thinking that my children will get sick and die, or my grandma goes on. You seem calm. What are you doing? Well, first of all, I'm not the kind of person to panic. I've been through a lot of difficult situations. I've been through a few crises, some of my own doing, some not. I've been in some very difficult situations where I was not sure that I would survive. And I've been in worse situations where I feared for the life of someone I loved and I was not in a position to help them. When you go through those situations, like the quote I shared with some of you earlier, that a crisis doesn't build character, it reveals the character. When you go through a situation and you realize that you're completely powerless, that all of your beliefs that you could control things were a delusion, and you're totally out of control, there are really only a couple of options. One is suicide, two is depression, or three is the total abandonment to the will of God. And I chose three in my life, that I'm out of control of the situation. I can't do anything about it. Someone I love is at risk of injury, death. I can't do anything about it. I can't fix my own situation. You abandon yourself to the will of God. That doesn't mean you do nothing. I believe that the phrase work like it's up to you and pray like it's all up to God applies. Someone accused me of getting that backwards the other day. I don't think so. I think I've got it right. It makes a lot more sense when you say it the way I did. But anyway, when you get to that point, you realize I'm not in control. God's in control. He has foreordained He gave me my life, number one, which I did not deserve. I do not control. And the only thing I owe is to give it back to him. So I don't even deserve to be here. But since I am here and I am a sinner, I deserve only an eternity of suffering and death. It kind of starts to put things in perspective, right? I lost my job. Well, okay, I can deal with that. Someone I love died, whatever. It gives you the perspective to deal with it. I let it go out again. You guys got it. Somebody's got to step in here and give me a breather so I can. All right, I'm going to answer the rest of this question. What am I doing? Okay, so I would say to you 5-6 principles here. One, tighten up your routine. So keep yourself busy. Schedule things out. If you're not accustomed to working from home, set a schedule. I've got a schedule. I wake up. I get dressed. I don't just throw on a t-shirt. I dress I dress very, very well. I make sure that I look good and respectable, as if I were going somewhere. I come down to my office. I have my coffee. I get into a full routine. It doesn't matter if the world's going crazy out there. I'm doing my thing in here. So tighten up your routine, plan it out, schedule it. Number two, Plan the day for the other people that are in your life that you're responsible for. Don't leave them out there to hang out to dry and just going crazy. Uh, what is that expression like? Butterflies in a hurricane. Plan for them. So your spouse, your children, the people you love, help them with a plan. Keep them busy. Think outside the box for them. The more that their mind is stuck on the inside thinking about me, woe is me, and I'm a victim and I'm upset, the more they're doing that, the worse it's going to get. Help them plan it out. You're going to do this at 9 o'clock. At 10 o'clock, you're going to do this. Build out their whole day from the time they wake up to the time they go to bed. Recognize that the temptation to worry or to fear is sinful. So, all you women, you know that men are tempted by sexual thoughts. Us men know that at least half of you women are tempted by impure thoughts. What is the proper response to that? Well, the proper response to that, as we all know from our catechism, is the first time you get that thought in your mind, to resist it instantly. Swipe it away. Like Tom Cruise in that movie, just swipe it away out of your life instantly and go back to doing something you're supposed to be doing or something good. Replace the image with something that's the opposite of it, because nature abhors a vacuum. So you got to replace it. We'll do the same thing with fear. With fear or panic or obsessive thoughts, the moment you're thinking about that, stop yourself. And if the near occasion of sin for you is turning on Fox News and that causes you to be panicked, turn it off. If Facebook is a near occasion of sin because it's causing you to worry and causing you to be uncharitable towards others and causing you to lash out, turn it off. The moment it comes in your mind, treat it like it is the sin that it is, right? To fall into those feelings. I would say to pray more, and the breviary or in the modern version, the Liturgy of the Hours is a great way to break up your day with prayer, because it's every 3 hours. So if you wake up at 6 a.m., pray prime. If you wake up and you're at work and you notice it's 9 a.m. And you're nervous, pray text or terse. Sext is at noon. So break up your whole day with the breviary. Every 3 hours there's some prayers to say. Break that cycle of worrying and being obsessed and fear and all the rest of it. Work harder, of course, is a great one. And then something else I would say is don't forget to inject some fun into the day. Find some ways to laugh. Find some people that lighten your mood. Watch a silly movie. Tell jokes. By the way, I got some great dad jokes lined up. They're awesome. So I'll share those with you later if you're lucky. So have some fun. Don't forget to laugh. Don't worry about what people are going to say about you for laughing during the sad time. I'm pretty sure that our Lord never despaired. He obviously had a great sense of humor. He would have appreciated dad jokes. So inject some fun into the day. Mm-hmm. All right, here we go. Now we're ready. You are only calm because you are wealthy and healthy. I think this person must write headlines for the DNC. If you cared about the sick or the poor, you would take this seriously. Well, first of all, I'm not wealthy, not in the sense that this person thinks. I still have 11 children who live at home. Only 2. Well, actually, now that I think about it, I got 11 children that live at home that I still support. I've got 2 that don't live at home that I still support, the seminarian and the pre-seminarian. I've only got 1 kid who's left home and is responsible for himself. So, that's just, that person's just wrong. And people are wrong a lot. You can't take it personally. Secondly, I'm not healthy. I'm immune compromised. And other than the very good lifestyle that you can see, I'm at high risk. And I don't have a death wish. I love my wife and my kids. And to the extent that I can delay the individual judgment, I want to do that. So don't make it about me. When you're arguing with somebody, don't attack them personally. It just shows that you don't have an argument. It shows that either your character is weak or your logic is weak, one of the two. I'm not going to panic. I don't do virtue signaling. I don't like that. It bothers me. I do lots of fake virtue signaling. Some of you have picked up on that. but that's just because I enjoy making fun of the silliness that other people do. Well, and then finally, I've already covered this. I trust God. So if God, if God decides that I'm going to die because I fall down the stairs, then so be it. Why am I going to worry about that? But I would say this, on a serious note, fear is okay. Fear is natural. If you don't have fear, you're a sociopath or a psychopath. Fear is okay. That's the only time that courage can manifest itself, is when there is fear. Panic is not okay. And I think I've tried to demonstrate uh, uh, extensively that we are going through a period of panic. From the top to the bottom, people are panicked. There are so many demonstrations of this, whether it's toilet paper, whether it's something else, people are panicking. There's no place in the world of a thinking person, let alone a Christian, for panic, okay? Why did you unfriend me, you coward? Because we disagree. I don't unfriend people for disagreements. I unfriend people who use profanity on my page, and I unfriend people who are nasty people. And the reason for that is I don't tolerate that behavior in real life. Why would I tolerate it on my timeline? Okay, if you acted that way in public, I wouldn't associate with you anymore. If you acted that way in my home, I would remove you from my home. Why would I let you act like that in Facebook? That's ridiculous. So don't be nasty. Don't use profanity on my timeline. The odds of me unfriending you are pretty low. Uh, and if you're a sedevacantist or you're a distributist, just be nice. Okay? Most of you that are on my hate mail page, you're sedis or you're distributists. And it's not because you're wrong. It's because you've been nasty. And I don't like that. I like nice people. I think you all can tell I'm a nice person. I like other nice people. Remember that my timeline, I've got women and children on my timeline. I don't want to have that bad behavior. You all can go do that somewhere else. What else we got? I'll post some data about the suicides, Tony, the abuse and suicides. It's all going to be lagging, right? So all you can do is like if you talk to a police chief and he says, yeah, we're overwhelmed with A, people who think they have the virus and they want somebody to come test them, and B, domestic abuse. So some of it's a little bit anecdotal. Will you apologize to everyone once you have been proven wrong about everything? Well, the answer to that is, if I've made a fundamental error of analysis, I will certainly apologize. I am going to be wrong on the numbers. So I have said to a few people that it looks to me like, and this hasn't changed in the last 2 weeks, it looks to me like deaths from the Wuhan virus are unlikely to exceed 25,000 in the United States. 25,000 would be the total number. Emma, thank you, because Emma's back. I've not been able to keep up with the questions. So I've said that I think it's going to be 25,000 and no more. Well, I'm going to be wrong. It's going to be 25,001, or it's going to be 24,000, or it's going to be 27,000, or it might even be a lot less than that. If they roll out this malaria drug, it could be a lot less than that. So I will be wrong, but the real question is, am I wrong on principle, or are my fundamentals wrong, or was I just wrong on the incidental facts of the number of deaths? So rest assured, I know you all will hold me to it. If I've made a fundamental